Hey everybody, Brian Tro coming to you from Mossy Creek Fly Fishing with your fly fishing forecast. The date today is Monday, January the 30th. So, it's been an amazingly mild January, probably one of the warmest ones around here in Virginia in the last decade anyway. We've been really fortunate as anglers to have mild days, mild nights, and also some pretty consistent water. We've had a few ice storms, we've had some rainstorms. Had a little ice again this past week. Tomorrow, Tuesday, it's supposed to rain pretty much all day as well. And it looks like relatively mild through the first half of the week. And then maybe, just maybe, some Arctic air coming in Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So winter's obviously not going to be done yet. February can be one of the snowiest, nastiest months of the year here. But all in all, with the exception of that really cold air that came in right before Christmas, things have just been really mild and relatively wet. So I wouldn't say that the trout streams in Western Virginia are above average. Most of them will probably be at average or even slightly below. But certainly we are not in the drought that we were in back in the fall. So if you add all that up, it makes for really great trout fishing. Okay, nights where it's 26, 27 degrees, daytime highs of 48 to today, maybe even 60. It's comfortable, your fingers aren't frozen, and it leads to more surface activity too. The bugs show up a bit more. We've definitely had more fish caught this winter on caddis flies and blue-wing olives and things like that than most in recent memory. It's made for good musky fishing as well. A lot of people associate musky with freezing cold, but the reality is they're like any other fish. There aren't any fish that love to eat when water temps are 33. There just aren't. They tolerate it, but they don't love it. Their metabolism's slow. So when the rivers are all 4 or 5 degrees warmer than average, the fish's metabolism is going to be higher, which means anglers are going to catch more fish. When you've got consistent days where it barely gets below freezing at night, and then it's in the 40s and 50s during the day, the window of opportunity for when the fish are most active gets bigger and bigger by hours. All right, so instead of it being a good bite from 2 to 4, people are catching fish pretty steadily at 11 o'clock in the morning and all the way to 4. So anyway, that's kind of a summary of just where we've been. Who knows where we're going to go? I can just tell you around here in Virginia, the longer it stays warm, the harsher it gets at some point. Like we're going to get smacked with some cold weather at some point. But take advantage of it while you can. Get out there, really enjoy the outdoors. And even if we do have some harsh winter weather, April's not that far away. So anyway, brook trout streams are fishing quite well. A lot of reports of people catching them on dry flies, which is not that unusual, especially for brook trout, especially in the afternoon, especially on a milder day, and especially in what I like to call dry fly water. Like, what's dry fly water? Well, if you're fishing a plunge pool up in the park that's 8 or 9 feet deep with lots of rapids and white water and stuff, that's not a dry fly pool. You're asking a lot for a fish to come up from the bottom of that thing. But a lot of our brook trout streams have like glides, shallow tail outs, things of that nature. If a fish lives in 2 feet of water most of their life, the surface is always in play. It's not very big of an ask for them to go up. So when you find those types of streams where you've got a lot of glides and a lot of shallower water, even if you don't see a brook trout rising this time of year, if it's the afternoon, like today, and it's 58 degrees, good time to try some dry flies. What would brook trout eat on the surface this time of year? If you want to go al natural, you'd be fishing Griffith's gnats, blue-wing olives, maybe a little black granum, like a little black caddis fly. We're literally only about a month away from our first mayfly hatches. The first mayflies that are going to hatch usually come towards the end of February here in Virginia, especially east in the Blue Ridge. So especially for you tyers who want to kind of get ahead of the dry fly game, quills, all right, little blue duns, quills, and then of course the first major hatch would be the quill Gordon, all right. So those are things you want to tie up. Smaller size, sleek, slim bodies, okay. But those hatches, those are the first real big sources of nutrient the brook trout get coming out of winter. So that's something to look forward to, not terribly far away. And then on the spring creeks down here in elevation, folks have been doing pretty well in streamers, standard streamers, sculpins, especially creeks like Mossy, full of sculpins. Fish them slow, fish them on the bottom. Just because it's warmer and your fingers feel better doesn't mean that they're going to chase all over the place. So vary your retrieve and see what the fish kind of want that day or even that hour. All right, always mix up your retrieve rate, okay? On the rivers, the musky fishing has been really, really good. There's no other way to put it. We've had month and a half of, ever since that cold snap, of warmer water temps, pretty good water flows, margarita green, the right color of the water, lots of follows, lots of hookfish, and lots of landed muskie. So, and then, you know, with those muskie come what we like to call bycatch. So bycatch for muskie fishing is usually like a 7-pound largemouth bass if you're fishing here on the South Fork of the Shenandoah, or 4 or 5 pound smallmouth. So that can always be really, really exciting in the middle of the winter. For some folks, bass fishing seems like such a far way off, but they still have to eat. And a lot of times when you're musky fishing, those big bass are in the same locations, right? In your big, deep, long holes, back in a nice, calm corner, and they'll venture out for an hour here and an hour there to put on some weight. So musky fly is a big, big score. Anyway, that's about it. We've got a cool event tomorrow night here at the store. Free food. I'm making some homemade chili. We've got free drinks for anybody that wants to come. We've got the gang from Squala that are going to be here to answer all kinds of questions about this newer company. And that's from 5 to 7 at the fly shop. So there'll be stuff on sale, free food, free drinks, good company. If you got it a half an hour or a couple hours, stop by. It'll be a lot of fun. All right, I'll see you all next week.